But what I learned throughout this whole time is what franchise would be, is the people with money don't want to run a franchise.
Right.
They want a business investment.
Okay.
They don't want to get behind the counter. And franchises, they want people behind the counter. They,
Right.
Crazy idea. If the business owner runs the business, it does better than if the business owner doesn't run the business and someone does for them.
Welcome to the Prosper Brief. Today's guest, Kenny Rose, founder and CEO of FranShares, is transforming franchising. By connecting investors with skilled operators, Kenny is making this booming industry accessible to all. Let's dive into his story.
Hi, good morning, and welcome to the Prosper Brief. Please introduce yourself. I know you just got off stage.
Yeah.
So we've got to share it with our listeners.
Just running from one mic to the next. It's great.
I love it, and you're killing it.
Yeah, thank you. My name's Kenny Rose. I'm the founder and CEO at FranShares.
Okay, and tell us about FranShares. Tell us
Well-
your journey. Want to know how you got here. This is your first year.
If it's okay, I'll start with the journey, because the journey kind of leads into why FranShares
Perfect.
had to be there. Coming out of school, I'm the son of an entrepreneur. I always knew I wanted to do it, but
Okay.
you don't really just have that idea of what you're going to do.
Right.
So I went into finance, and I was advisor at Merrill Lynch, and I hated being in a big wirehouse. I'm not meant for a corporate office.
Yeah, we're trying to contain you even at this conference. It's been challenging.
I'm the best.
No boundaries,
Yeah.
no walls.
Yeah,
Color outside the box.
I've definitely opened some doors I shouldn't here, and it's been doors. Actually, I told
This is true, and I honestly very much admire that. And like I've said to you many times, I'm not worried about you. You're making it happen.
Yeah, thank you. I told one of our investors about some of the things that were going on here, and he's like, "Oh, you're getting after." I'm like, "The door for opportunity is not open. You have to kick it open."
Yeah,
And I've
you
been
gotta sneak
kicking
around the
here.
corner and open
Little
the
bit,
back door.
A little bit.
I think you honestly said to me yesterday, you're going through front doors and back doors, or keeping all doors open.
And I've gotten conversations from this conference that the meetings that are coming from it. It's just that honestly, it's a very unique thing what we do, and it helps these franchises. And we just need to get in front of people. And honestly, it's hard to get in front of really powerful people, except for when you're at Prosper.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, talk it up.
Yeah. And but yeah, so my journey, I left the finance world, and it was actually a family friend. He said, "What do you know about franchising?" Now, mind you, this is a guy who's the CEO of a company that coaches CEOs. So I'm like, McDonald's,
Okay.
Subway, Taco Bell. What do you know about franchising? And he said his company was a franchise.
Okay.
I'm like, there's a franchise for coaching CEOs? And that's what I learned. They
that's
franchise
interesting.
everything. I mean,
Okay.
trash, recycling, window cleaning,
Oh, yes.
everything is
okay.
franchise. You just don't always know they're franchise, because if it's not, honestly, in food, you don't need to market to everyone because they're not your customers.
Okay.
But if you're like, hey, I've got a bunch of, I'm getting dumpsters taken out constantly because I have oil barrels, you know what Smash My Trash is.
Right.
If you're anyone but that, you've never heard of them. But
Right.
it's a company that's got over 500 locations. And so there's franchises out there. We just don't know all these ones that are out there. So
Yeah.
that hit me like a ton of bricks. And I'm like, wow, the franchise industry is really big. And I recent graduate-ish, came out of finance, like to think I know a thing or two. I'm like, holy crap, this is a big industry no one talks about, yet it's everywhere. So
Everywhere.
I was like, I need to get in. I'm going to figure out how I'll change it. But what I tell a lot of people I mentor in the startup area, they're like, oh, I want to do a startup. I'm like, go master something else. You can't come in and tell someone how to do something. You need to master it
Yeah.
and then figure out what to do differently.
Yeah.
And so I came in on the franchise brokerage side. I'd
Okay.
help people who were interested in franchise ownership,
Okay.
recommend specific brands for them based on their budget, their skill set and goals, and then, coach them through that research and purchase process. And so the great thing about that is I've looked into 600 plus different companies, FDDs, plus multiple years of them. So I got to learn a whole lot about the different franchises in different industries, which if you work for one brand, you know a lot about that one brand and maybe that one industry.
Yeah.
And so this is a great way to learn everything about it. And, I'd started off at the largest brokerage at the time, FranNet, and they had 150 offices. Funny enough, that is a franchise too.
There you go.
You want to get meta, it's franchises of selling franchises. So
Okay.
they do franchise everything, and it is a big money industry there. Around this time, I had the initial idea for FranShares, which we're still getting to it. But, I wanted to really prove myself as, a business owner, as a thought leader, and, educate people on franchising. And so I wanted to, do all that before I put this idea into motion. Plus, I'm a measure 5 times cut once person, as much as I'm a loose cannon at the same time. I'm complicated but efficient.
I love it. I love it.
But so I wanted to do all this, and I like had that emphasis on becoming a thought leader. And so I started off just writing answers on Quora, answering questions on franchising.
Okay.
And then, funny enough, the one that really got me my claim to fame was it was how much Chick-fil-A costs.
Okay.
And so they sent that out to 50 million people. Like it got a lot of traction. It went viral for Quora standards.
Yeah.
And I'd reach out to journalists and look for ones writing about franchising. It's not a whole lot, but I worked my way into Forbes, Business Insider, ABC, reached over 300 million people without a penny in ad spend.
Oh, wow.
But what I learned throughout this whole time is what franchise would be, is the people with money don't want to run a franchise.
Right.
They want a business investment.
Okay.
They don't want to get behind the counter. And franchises, they want people behind the counter. They,
right.
Crazy idea. If the business owner runs the business, it does better than if the business owner doesn't run the business and someone does for them. They're not incentivized. They don't care.
Right.
And so then then I saw on the other side, you have all these operators, someone, say McDonald's, ran a McDonald's for 10 years, knows that business inside and out. Your dream franchisee. They got their experience running a McDonald's. They don't have $1 million laying around.
Right.
So you have operators with no capital and capital that doesn't want to operate. So FranShares appeared because there needed to be a marketplace that allows investors to invest in franchises and for operators to raise capital. Getting lending can be very hard until you have a couple hundred locations under your belt, then they fight over you.
Right.
But everyone below that.
Right. We're like, where's the middleman?
Yeah.
Starting man.
Banks look at you like you're buying a house.
Yes, which we know is very challenging nowadays.
Yep. And it's even more challenging when you don't have a high net worth.
Yeah.
You don't have a high income.
Yes.
You're showing your resume. And, when I was fundraising on the venture side for FranShares, this is what resonated with them. Because I was like, imagine you could only invest in founders that were already millionaires and they hired someone else to run the company for them.
Right.
This is the franchise industry today.
Right.
This is why when you go into some locations, it's kind of stale.
Right.
It's people are stripping out costs or not wanting to invest and the owner is not in there.
Yeah.
I guarantee if the owner's in there every day, they either will or want to renovate it, be there. They're a part of the community. You invite people in
it. That's all, what this industry is about.
Yeah. And honestly, like in the franchise industry, this term semi-absentee, and I'm guilty of it back in the day too. Like we sold it as semi-absentee. You can have a manager run it for you, but it can work. It's not the best way to work.
Right.
It's not the way it should work because again, you should be running that business yourself. You should be in the community. You should be out there telling them about you and your business.
Yeah.
So, and that's how it came about. And then we, launched a couple of years ago, funded millions into different franchises, into different brands. Incredible. And it's been great seeing these success stories of like the operators that couldn't get a chance, that get it and crush it. Like we have this husband-wife team. They met while working at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Okay.
And they're the team that like went in and like opened these different locations.
I love it.
Opened probably 150 between the two of them. Tell me that's not a dream franchisee.
Wow.
Like
incredible.
That's what they do is they open and scale and then move on to the next. And so they'd gotten their first location of Teriyaki Madness open. They went all in on it and they did great.
Okay.
But then trying to open the next one, bank looks at it like, well, you just bought a house. Why do you want to buy another house?
Right.
Is your net worth okay there? Is your income triple?
Debt to income ratio. What are we doing?
And they're not looking at it like a founder. So with the experience, someone that you like, that person with the grit that you want to invest in.
Yeah.
And so, we funded their second location. And it's funny. I always try and under promise and over deliver. And no, that's right.
Well, what got me, the reason I gave you that look is I'm like, so tell me, you funded it. So what, like, give me, explain it to me in kindergarten terms. We always say that in my family. So break it down. So they have that one location and then you said you funded their second. So they want to open another one.
Yep.
So what does that look like specifically?
Yeah.
They found you, asked for money, and you gave it to them.
Yep, that easy. No, I mean, honestly, when we're looking at anything that we want to list on the platform, we look at the brand, the operators, and the opportunity. Now, the brand Teriyaki Madness, they've gotten a couple hundred locations going. great leadership team, great margins, and honestly, love the branding, and it's an incredible offering. Like you eat there, you love it, and and also I sold them on the brokerage side before too, because I'm a big fan of it. And then so you've got a great brand, and then you learn about the brand, then you learn about the operators. Do you have experience doing this? Why should I invest in you?
Yeah.
And you see this, A, they already have a location open, they're masters at it,
Right.
but B, their history. I mean, these two are just a wrecking machine, and like you want to fuel that machine.
Yeah.
And so, and then the opportunity is, hey, we open one location in Charlotte. We actually live out in North Charlotte in Mooresville. We want to open one here. We're part of this community here, actually. We're going to do even better than we do at the other one. And so, I mean, we're not an investment bank or private equity, so we don't like tell you what your terms are.
Okay.
But, you come and you say, like, this is what we'd like to offer. And I always say, I'm not telling you no, I'm telling you what we'll sell to investors. Because some people are like, oh, I'm going to get a great deal here. And I'm like, no, because an investor doesn't want to fund your great deal. They want something that's a win-win.
Yeah.
And so we found terms that made sense for them, looked good for investors, and then got to fund them and get it launched. And
that is incredible.
Yeah. And
okay, talk to me about Prosper.
Oh,
how did you get here? How did you hear
hold
about
on.
us?
I got to tell you one final thing.
Please.
Because we just hit their 1-year anniversary.
Oh, you did?
In the Mooresville store. Let's see, 10 days ago.
Oh, wow.
And, when we were telling investors about it, I always, like I said, under promise, over deliver. I looked at, their item 19, that performance. I took the average and I said, we're going to take 4 years to get there. Because I want you comfortable with what I think is a worst case scenario, but like very, very conservative.
Okay.
The average sales were about, I think, 1.025 million. Their first year, they hit 1.2 million.
Wow.
Invest in hardworking, experienced operators, and they will deliver.
That's incredible.
Now let's talk about Prosper.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you put a bow on that.
Yeah.
To hear that.
They want to hear that it works too.
Exactly. Right. The end result.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Like we love the journey, but we also need to know the end result.
Yep. Exactly.
Okay. So I do want to talk about Prosper.
I do too.
How did we get here? How did we meet? Tell everyone.
A lot of lucky stuff happens when you peek your head in different doors. And, crazy enough, I had this idea that I wanted to get Shaquille O'Neal as a partner in FranShares.
Okay.
And so I started reaching out every which way I could. And eventually I got introduced to Josh Halpern, the CEO of Big Chicken, who is it's Shaq's franchise. And so I've spoken with Josh for 3 years, probably.
Incredible guy.
Yeah. And it's funny, the segment that he spoke on was about building relationships. And he talked about taking the time and being long-term. And I'm like, oh yeah, I did this to you. Like, of course, I was like, we resonate with each other really well.
He's a fantastic leader.
And a character. I love it. And great shoes. If you haven't seen the clip, check out the Big Chicken shoes.
Oh,
have you not seen them?
I don't think I have.
Him and Sam have custom Big Chicken shoes, and they are phenomenal.
Okay.
I literally said,
how do we get some?
I said, give me your shoe guy. I can share their shoe guy with you.
Well, there you go. Okay.
And so, we kept in touch. And then, eventually he said, hey, I want to invite you to this thing called Prosper. And he told me about it. And I'm like, wow, I feel silly I have not heard of this, because I feel like we have just the most mutually aligned goals.
Yeah.
And, we're trying to create diversity and create advancement and equity and inclusion. And so it was just like, man, I should have been here since the beginning. We were late, but we finally met up, and it's great.
I know, it's amazing.
And it was great because then you and I got to speak. And I was telling someone about this here of just like how much stuff in common we had right away.
Yes.
It was like
the phone call was electric.
It was so fun.
My dad was on the phone.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I actually spoke between the two of you.
I think we had a separate one, and all three of us, we put us in a room, we'd probably go for a few hours.
Yeah.
It was like, you guys live in Scottsdale. I was born in Scottsdale.
Yes.
And right. We just moved here from Coronado. I'm like, I went to Coronado High School.
Yeah.
And then it's like, we're talking about your kids, and I have a set of twins. My girlfriend is a twin.
Okay, they have a crazy story.
Yeah.
That's for a different podcast, but there's a lot of twins on her side. So.
Genealogy is a fun thing.
Crazy. Okay, and how are you enjoying it? Give me maybe a highlight. I've been lucky enough to bump into you the entire time.
I think you're everywhere. I think it's just fact it had to happen.
Exactly. Okay. And I just love it though, because you give me that spark of energy of everything good that's going on. I really want you to share that with our listeners.
Well, it's a lot of coffee, I'll admit that.
But it's supposed to be pure bliss from the event, Cuddy.
Oh, actually, that's probably what it was, because I was about to say this is by far the best conference I've been to. And I literally, it's funny, I save all of my lanyards and I have a box. I mean, I haven't counted them, but it's hundreds, if not 1,000 of them.
Okay.
This is the best conference I've been to.
Why do you save the lanyards?
You know, I thought it'd be funny one day. It's like I'm a bit of my girlfriend called me a hoarder, but I like the keepsakes and the memories, you know. And honestly, I have this idea in my head one day. I'm gonna like get a giant frame and put all those badges up. Maybe
cool.
even chronological order, because I got them. I think I have the ones from like conventions in college too.
Yeah.
And so like, you know, just kind of
quite fun.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I also have every business
vision.
card
like,
I've ever had too.
Like a backdrop like this.
Oh, that's really
right?
good.
Framed, like get it all dialed.
You know, it's all part of
really cool.
It's it's all part of the story, and I just it's good to like remember the different chapters. I guarantee I'll find a badge like, wow, I totally forgot about that conference.
Yes.
This one I will never forget.
Okay.
From the minute it started, well, I was excited to begin with. You guys are great. I was so happy to like see who's going to be here.
Yeah.
And I walk in. First off, the swag here is incredible. And I'm a fan of swag. Maybe I'm cheap. I like to call it thrifty, but you know, and then you see. I mean, you got,
well, again, you're not shy.
Yeah.
You don't mind.
I mean, we got Pepsi as a great sponsor, and I see Gatorades and all the sodas and the waters.
Incredible, right?
Help yourself. And then Mars. I've actually taken some notes from them. They're doing caricatures, turning people into M&Ms and a free candy machine.
So cool.
Oh, have I shown you Sabrina and I's caricature?
No.
Oh, I'll show you after. It's amazing.
Okay, good.
I actually talked to the guy whose name is also Kenny, and we might have him at our next booth we're doing, because it's such a good idea.
Oh, good.
And
I love that.
The candy machine, when you do finally get a little tired and all hope seems gone. Yeah. Go get a bag of M&Ms. It comes right back. It's great.
I'm not going to lie. My dad like got it to work and he's like, this is so cool.
It is so cool. And you think it'd be like one at a time. It's like, no,
work.
Grab one of everything. Hit order.
Yeah, I think he walked out with a cup, more than one. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, I got some plain snacks, I will admit. But I'm just advertising for Mars. So you're welcome.
I love it. I love it.
And, but yeah, so like just walk in. I'm like, this is all so great. And you guys gave me my pin right away too. Yeah. I felt loved, you know. And then conference started. Everyone I talk to is just jazzed. They're energetic. They are so happy to be here, and they're excited to actually do things. A lot of people go to the conference because they have to go to the conference. The companies. People want to be here. Yeah. And they want to do things. They want to change. And also, I really want, I need to get in front of people. FranShares is not something they're looking for. They don't know it exists.
Yes.
We don't have competitors. It's an entirely new thing. And you need to really get in front of them, because you can send a billion emails, but it's still in the inbox especially you got to go from the top down. They're very busy people. Yes. And you got the names. The people that are here are amazing. I mean, everyone I met, they're like, I get this. This makes sense. And it's incredible. And each person you talk to, it's like, oh, you're connected with that person. And, it's just like the franchise map. It's like everyone's connected in some way.
Yeah. It's pretty special.
It really, this industry is both huge and very small. Yeah. It's just very connected. And that's why I tell people, when I was raising for the company, people are like, why has no one done this? I'm like, if you're not part of the franchise industry, you cannot just go crack into it. Like companies specialize in stuff for franchises because they are from the industry, and there can be better stuff out there even, but if you're not part of the industry, they don't let you in. That's why a lot of these big Silicon Valley companies are not in every franchise system. They could have the best stuff, but they're not family.
Right.
And then finally, like the speakers and the content. One thing I never see, and I truly loved here, is everyone is in the same room. Yeah. Normally it's breakouts. Choose your track, just that or the other. Everyone is together. Everyone's learning about the same thing. Yeah. Everyone's able to talk about that same stuff. Yeah. And you see all the same people. It's really special, and like something you don't see very often. Yeah.
Well, I actually really appreciate you saying that, because that is designed on purpose. And I always kind of felt, always wonder of like, well, maybe a breakout is better or smaller. But I do agree with you I love that we're all together and hearing the same message or at the same things, because then we're cultivating unique conversations with each of us, but we're sharing the same.
We're a family. We got to sit at the same table. Exactly. We don't want to be at different tables.
Making a better table.
Yeah, exactly. We're building a better table together.
There you go.
Love it. New tagline.
Yes, that is our tagline. A better table.
Oh, we can cut out the part where I thought we made that up.
No, I like it. We're keeping it.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, no, fantastic.
It's been a long conference. I can't be entirely.
It has. We're on the last day. I'm so grateful that you found the time to be with us.
And thanks for letting me get on stage. We were talking about this before.
Incredible.
I stuck my way into the speaker area a few times, and boy, I've had some life-changing conversations
Oh
and
my
introductions.
gosh.
Well, I don't want to throw specific names out there to
Okay.
put pressure on, but we'll say companies big enough to have a chief development officer, their CEO is saying, I'm going to introduce you to my CDO.
Amazing.
And that's
what it's all about.
they get it. And then you were gracious enough for some reason to let me further in and go on stage. And
I'm
honestly,
sure it had nothing to do with your persistence. Hey, if you don't ask,
you don't get.
you don't get.
I say that all the time.
And like I've said again, I always really appreciate you. Like, yes, please, like help me help you.
Love it.
Well, good. We
Love
are
it.
so grateful you've been on the Prosper Brief here at Prosper. Obviously, you'll be coming again. Correct?
I cannot wait. Until next time.
Exactly. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in. Kenny's groundbreaking work in franchising and his commitment to empowering others leave us inspired. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and join us next time for more inspiring discussions shaping the future of food service.